Off to sunny Queensland for our Friday games of footy, and the first one that we're taking in there was, of course, the Brisbane Lions in Adelaide in a nice early start to the day. We had the fish there. Michael Whiting, welcome.
Hey, mate. Not so sunny Queensland at the moment. But thankfully, the Gold Coast has avoided the deluge that Brisbane's been copping, so managed to get Brisbane and Adelaide out with not too many dramas on the weather front.
Oh, well, that's all right. So hopefully there's enough info that we can get out of this for us fantasy coaches to see, well, a normal game of footy that we saw. I guess all eyes for us were on Cam Rayner, who we just keep hearing about that he's awesome, that he's looking good, and that he's going to get midfield time.
Yeah, he is, and he got plenty of it today against the Crows. Like I was interested to see how the split would work. Now, I didn't take down centre bounce attendances or anything like I'm sure you guys probably are looking at a bit more closely, but I think the split was pretty close to 50-50 for Rayner, midfield forward. And that's probably going to be a blueprint for the season. I think everything I've seen in pre-season indicates that, and what we saw today indicates that as well. So it took a little while to find his feet, Cam, but once he got rolling, got up to speed, it's been 12 months since he played, I reckon he had a pretty good hit out.
Yeah, that's good. I guess the concern for a lot of us is that he's probably not going to be a massive ball winner. So while he's very cheap, he's got a 3 in front of his name, under 400k. We're pretty happy with that, but he may not quite get to the the 75 to 80 average that we need him to.
Yeah, I think we're still trying to gather information on this because 12 months ago he was set for the same role. We barely got a look at him. And now we've seen, 4 quarters against Adelaide. We'll see 4 quarters next week against the Bulldogs. So I'd still be keeping him in mind for sure. But you're right. Like, he's not a huge possession winner. Anything in intra-club stuff, he has been. But obviously, as we know, it's totally different to playing opposition. So I'd just be looking at that midfield forward split. Looks about 50-50. So, if he can rack up 15 to 18 touches and snag a goal or two, that might start putting him in the picture, but definitely keep an eye on him next week. Was
it mostly Zorko, the only real big name missing out of their midfield?
Yeah, out of the midfield it was. Yep, only Zorko. And I think he will obviously play decent midfield minutes, but I think he'll be thrown around a bit. Brisbane they certainly want to spin a lot of players through there this year, so I'm even interested in, today I was interested in it. Next week I will be, how they use Jared Lyons, Lockie Neal. They want to get a number of players through that midfield and not leave it so reliant on Lyons and Neal as they probably have done in previous years.
Now, we did get a little bit worried when we heard about Neal playing forward, but that's just a little bit of a furphy, isn't it? Or we don't have to worry about that. I think he's going to play enough midfield to still be the ball-winning beast that he has been in the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah, he'll play more. I was more worried about Jared Lyons, I think, to be honest. Like, those two are in a similar boat. Like, Chris Fagan's telling the truth in that he wants to get more speed in there, and that Lyons and Neal will spend some time forward because they can't play 100% on ball. But Lockie Neal looks incredible pre-season. He's fit as he's been since he's come to Brisbane, clean as we've come to expect from him. But he will play a high majority still midfield for sure.
Nice. He's as cheap as he's been almost forever, so I think he's a lock for me. Zach Bailey was very good. He's got the mid-forward status, 610k. It's getting to that awkward price, but I think he could really take a step up again this year.
So do I, mate. I'm borderline obsessed with this guy. He's so exciting. When he's around the ball, things happen. Whether he's winning it, he's tackling, he's smothering, getting himself out of traffic, things happen. Kicked a goal today, set a couple up, got plenty of ball. So whether he's mid or forward, and he's probably going to have a similar split to Rayner, it almost doesn't matter. He just is attracted to the contest and attracted to the ball. So I can't wait to watch him this season. I think he's going to take a step up, and we saw a good sign of it today.
Now, in the ruck, we've got Big O there, who is obviously the number one ruck. Where's Fort sort of sit with that? Do you think it's just Big O by himself and getting the regular chop out like he was, or do you think Fort might get a bit of a gig this season?
Yeah, I think, they're trying to figure out what to do until Eric Hipwood comes back from his ACL, so that it looks like he'll come back somewhere before the middle of the season, maybe around 8, if I'm having a guess. Late May is what they're projecting at the moment. So they're trying to piece it together until then. I think if Darcy Fort plays, which looks likely, they will probably split ruck time with Fort maybe playing a little more forward.
Yep.
Then when Hipwood comes back, I would expect McInerney to take on a larger percentage of that ruck role. So I think initially Oscar will play a little bit more than 50%. And then once Hipwood comes back, that percentage will probably go up because he'll have to be supported by Joe Danaher or someone else.
The Lions probably won the ruck battle there against Riley O'Brien. How do you see Rob's game? Because a lot of us are keen on him being one of our rucks who we hope that he can improve a little bit on last year.
Yeah, I thought he was okay. I did think the Brisbane guys got the better of him. Sometimes a bit hard to tell, though. The influence, he was double-teamed for want of a better term. He had the majority of minutes. You can wear down a ruckman. As I think Brisbane did that to an extent. A couple of guns missing for Adelaide too, so maybe the ruckman's influence is a little bit undervalued in that instance. As I'm sure you find through all the games this weekend, I say weekend, Wednesday to Saturday, but no stats make things a little bit tricky for the rucks, particularly. We don't get a handle on how many tackles they've laid or exactly how many. And
conditions may not have been the best for the big man either.
No, and once Brisbane, it was a little bit slippery. And once Brisbane got on a roll on those bigger bodies, Adelaide around it opened up. There wasn't a lot of stuff in tight, so it was probably hard for Rob to have a big influence. But I'd be still keeping a close eye on him for sure.
Just one last one, and he didn't play. Kaden Coleman. I'm a bit excited if he's got this half-back role because that could turn into a bit of a fantasy-friendly role. I saw he played a few of those games last year in that and was scoring fairly solidly, a lot better than what his price is. So could that be, is that what we'll see him and hopefully he'll be back this week? Yeah,
that's where we'll see him. He is a close COVID contact, so he's got a week in isolation. So everything being equal, he should be back to play next weekend, and he's trained all season at half-back, and unless something catastrophic goes wrong between now and round one, that's where he'll be in the 22 and he'll start at half-back and has looked terrific through most of the pre-season.
Now, Rayner ticked the box there for the Lions, but for the Crows, Matt Crouch, that was his first game for a while, so he's nice and cheap in fantasy because he didn't play last year. He gets a 30% discount. Any qualms in locking him in?
No, I don't think so. He was all right, Matt. I was trying to keep a close eye on him. Again, we know that type of guy. This is where the stats hurt us, mate, as I'm sure you've found out. But the real he's probably the captain of the in and unders that you don't often see a lot of his stuff. But I did notice him a little bit more as the match went on. So thought he was a little bit quiet early. But clearly, as anyone like a Rayner or like him that's missed 12 months of footy, it's probably going to take a run or two to truly get your legs under you. And I saw enough from him, though. He bobbed up plenty. I saw enough from him to certainly warrant picking him in your team.
And Josh Rochelle, people are very excited about him. Obviously, a first-round draft pick. He looked very good. Got on the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, he did. He looked great. With the slippery conditions, didn't seem to bother him at all. Really clean below his knees, and the finishing was incredible. Kicked 3 in the second half. His third goal from outside 50, he probably kicked it from 54, 55, and it went 6 rows over the fence. It was a great, tremendous kick, and so exciting watching him. I hadn't sort of watched a lot of it's been huge raps, but that was, if you're a Crows fan or a fantasy fan, you'd be super excited seeing him play.
We'll have to lock him in round one then.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. He was the shining light for the Crows today, no doubt about it.